you can't not go in with an impression if you're working with Kareena. Ali is from Lucknow. Do you know Hrishi is from Lucknow? So these are not baby steps.
Guys, I'm extremely proud of what this man has achieved. Ranveer Brar is in studio. He's a chef, he's an actor, he's an entrepreneur, all-round good man. And we are both small-town boys. Of course, he's attained international stardom. I'm taking some baby steps. How are you, brother? So great to see you.
Yeah. Baby steps, I have to say this. I think every time I go to Lucknow, there are a few people that always get mentioned. Saying, do you know Roshan Abbas is from Lucknow? Do you know Ali is from Lucknow? Do you know Hrishi is from Lucknow? So these are not baby steps. You'll always be the elder brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Now, the reason he's in studio is Buckingham Murders is out. It's on Netflix. Please download it right now or watch it or stream it. I downloaded it just before a flight from Bangalore to Mumbai, and I just had the time of my life. Terrific film. It stars Kareena Kapoor and Ranveer Brar. It is directed by Hansal Mehta. I want to ask you, I remember you did a movie with Hansal, and I was thinking maybe this is just one of those one-off things. Hansal found this guy interesting, must have seen a cooking video and said, let me cast him. And I remember telling you at the time it was a very bold move for you to do this particular project. But for Hansal to call you back again, that to me is a big thing. How did it happen?
I was definitely surprised. And because Mukesh didn't call, somebody from Mukesh's team called my manager.
This is Mukesh Chhabra, who is the ace casting director.
Absolutely, yeah. Mukesh Paji as we call him. So somebody from his team called, and at first I was like, yaar, if it was something important, Mukesh would have called me. मैंने कोई नहीं बोल दे कि हाँ करेंगे. And then he called later and said, oh, it's a big thing for me, I'm sticking my neck out, it's with Kareena, and Hansal sir is taking his neck out, it's a big deal, take it seriously. So then I was like, okay, this is getting serious now. Matlab, if he is serious, then this is getting serious.
One very interesting thing about the film is it talks about how the people from the subcontinent have migrated to the UK. And obviously there are lots of fissures, there are deep divides between the Indian and the Pakistani community that have gone there. But the British don't understand it. The British police think, how could so much happen because of a cricket match? And this was round about the time when all those problems were happening in Leicester and a few other areas. And these are characters who are part of that. I want to ask you, you spend so much time abroad. When you go abroad, how are you greeted by both the Indian as well as the Pakistanis as well as the entire Southeast Asian diaspora?
Yeah, no, I think first about Hansal, sir, I think his basic nature is he'll always embrace the problem. If he sees a situation that is sort of walking the thin line, he will go there and he'll not run away from it. Right? And I saw that in his filmmaking, I saw that in his decision making. He likes embracing the thin line. There were times when we were shooting, when things got a little saying, oh, should we say this, should we not say this? He's like, no, we should say it because it is what it is, right? He would not shy away. I think that's something that I learned from him. Once you have that conviction, then it just art becomes easier. Now when I talk about my learnings, and yes, there are, I'd say when you live outside of India, when you travel outside of India, the idea of India is always broader. Subcontinent always comes together, right? And not just superficially, but in more ways than one, you're forced to come together because you're surrounded by a lot of people who are not like you. And then you look for people who are like you. Yeah. So every time you'd sit in a cab, you start speaking, and the driver starts speaking Punjabi. The first thing is that "Paji law right? Because you're in an atmosphere which is not yours, and you look for your language, your kind of people, your lehza per se. And I think that is something that brings us together, the subcontinent together. Now, it doesn't mean the fissures don't exist. Doesn't mean the crevices don't exist. Doesn't mean doesn't mean it's all well, right? But I would say when you are surrounded by people that are not like you, eventually having common ground always wins over the crevices or the fissures or yeah.
Okay, it's time we talked about Kareena. I mean, fantastic actress. She obviously is very fond of you. In fact, today she's put a story with your book and with some wonderful Ranveer Brar branded stuff. And I just noticed that she's not worn any makeup through the film. She's playing a troubled mother who's dealing with loss. But yet at the same time, she's tough as nails. So talk to me about Kareena and talk to me about working with her on this project.
I sometimes, first is you always go in there with an impression, right? You can't not go in with an impression if you're working with, somebody's told you this, somebody's told don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. So I was overfed with how do I have to sort of, what do I do? And then when we started on the set, it was just, first of all, I was in awe. I face the camera and I react to the word action in my own way. But to see that level of transformation, that level of commitment to character, that level of delivery at the first goosebumps. Yeah, it was just, you were in awe. So that first reaction was awe. The second, I think, was when she sensed my nervousness on the first take. And she said, well, I'll sit through the closes. And she sat through my closes. It's my close, the camera's not even on her. She sat through my closes so I could not really get a sense that I was acting. I could really be myself and react like myself. And she sat through all my closes the entire film. So one, her level of commitment toward the craft. Two, reverence for the craft.
Oh, very well said.
Because it's when you see it in your family, and you don't have to say it, but this has been a part of your family legacy and you're taking it forward. There is an unsaid reverence that this has been your family's bread and butter for the longest. There's that, it's never spoken, but there's that unsaid reverence which is very powerful and which you sense, and it's just powerful. That's what I sense with it.
And it's a very interesting dynamic between Diljit and her, because she's new to this particular community, which is Wickham in Buckinghamshire. And it's a small town, so everybody knows each other. And there is another police officer on the beat who obviously knows this particular family, which is Diljit's family, which is Diljit is played by Ranveer. And she comes in giving this whole fresh perspective, and they want to close the case. She doesn't want to close the case. And there are many things which are revealed about Ranveer's character. But I have to say this, you're a lucky man. You're surrounded by not just Kareena Kapoor, but two other beautiful women. There's, of course, Sarah Jane Dias, who used to be such a famous VJ with Channel V, and now she's doing a lot of good acting parts. And the other lady, I mean, I don't recognize her. What's her name? Can you give us some background? Is she from Punjabi films? I don't know.
So Prableen Sandhu, that's her, and she's acted in some television stuff, but she's acted with Hansal sir in Shahid, if I'm not mistaken. And to me as well, she's such a revelation. She's such a revelation, There were times when I was interacting with her, and sometimes, I got really, really aggressive. The character got really aggressive. And the way she would react, post the shot, I would honestly think of it from a woman's perspective, who's on the other side of, of this. And so she's that good. And also I think for me, where she stands out is when she says, "Hey, gilas pani mile." Oh my God. I think next level. There's so much for a guy like me. Everywhere you turn around, there's learning, right?
No, but having said that, the role calls for tenderness with, I mean, it's no spoiler because the movie is out now. The role calls for tenderness when he deals with his lover, and for some kind of, a lot of marriages are dead in a certain way. Some kind of, the sameness in his marriage And obviously there is some history of domestic violence there. I mean, I don't want to go into the details because you should watch the film and find out. But that dynamic has been very well portrayed by both of you. Her through her body language, and you when you get a little aggressive. So it must have been fun. Was this England in the winter or England in the summer?
England in fall.
Oh, nice.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
It was shot in the fall light, and that's what makes it look, the grays and everything else.
Yeah, the whole film is
beautifully.
very grey.
Yeah. And because it was just shot at the right moment, it was fall, it was genuinely grey, 4:30 sunsets, so you were shooting when the sun was on a slant, the light was on a slant, there were no top lights, you could shoot through the day. And it just justified the visual space of the film so well.
Did you cook for the unit? You can't have Ranveer Brar in a film unit and not have everybody saying, please cook a meal, cook a meal. So what happened? Was it in the hotel? And did you tell the chef, come on, be a sous chef now for some time?
It was at Hansal sir's home.
Oh, very nice.
He'd taken up an Airbnb.
Very nice.
And it was in his home. He had a beautiful kitchen. And we cooked a fair bit for like 40 people after the wrap. We cooked butter chicken, अपना गोभी मुसल्लम बनाया, निहारी बनाई, दाल बनाई, एक लाहौरी दाल, lots of stuff.
What did Kareena put on her plate?
Nothing. She wasn't even there then.
Oh, she missed the wrap part.
That's why I had to send her the panjiri. Okay.
Yeah, so tell me about the panjiri. I mean, since we're talking about food, it's a good time to bring in the food. What is that panjiri?
So basically, from our village in Punjab, every year, ghee aana hi aana, है ना? So there is a ritual. आप नानके होते हैं ना, from your mother's side, every winter, every fall, there's this culture of sending ghee over. So I made that panjiri and we just sent it over to a few people.
Lovely. And listen, the book, I know it's been out for a while, but I can't help not talk about it. It's your travels through India eating. Yeah. So did you journal it, or did you do voice notes for you to remember all the stuff?
So most of it is voice notes, and also because by default you end up clicking a lot of pictures, so they bring back memories and it's easy to write. But it's also recipes from my travels. So it's travelogues, recipes from my travels, my recommendations. And we said, why we'll not go with the publisher. Why not start our own publishing house? So we started a publishing house called Inkstain Publishing. And this is our first book. And we sold out. We reprinted. We sold out 5,000 copies. And we only sold it on our website and social media. That's just the power of digital, right? We're talking about that. And we had to get another 3,000 in reprint.
So where is it available now? It's called, let me just run you through it. It's called A Journey Through India, Ranveer Brar. It's a wonderful picture of him with a background of Spiti. And he is, if I can liken it to a famous international artist, Jethro Tull's Ian Anderson plays the flute like that on one knee. Yeah, like that. That's beautiful, yeah. So where is it available? Where can people go and buy it?
So you can go to ranveerbrar.com and order it, or just go to our Instagram page and get it.
Okay. ranveerbrar.com or the Instagram page. Please order it and make sure that it comes to you. There is also a restaurant in Dubai.
There's a restaurant in Dubai. We haven't.
Talk to me about that, yeah?
Well, you have to go there first.
Yeah, I must. Yeah.
It's called Kashkan. Kashkan is Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Kashkan by Ranveer Brar. It's in DFC Dubai. We've been open for a year. I was supposed to go there for our 1 year celebration, but there was a health issue. I couldn't. Now we're going to celebrate it next month. But an extremely successful restaurant because of the extremely beautiful response given by Dubai. We are opening a second one. We are announcing the second one on our 1 year anniversary. We're opening 3 in Saudi. So we're looking at expanding Kashkan as a brand in the Middle East. Very, very, very thankful to how people have responded.
No, here's the tricky part. on your name, a whole line or a chain of restaurants will open, which is fantastic. But I know you'll be very, very keenly watching quality control. Are the chefs going to be handpicked by you? Are they? How do you manage monitoring them given your busy lifestyle?
So the chefs are always handpicked by me. The corporate chef is a chef who's worked with me for 20 plus years. The key कारीगर जिनको हम बोलते हैं तो लखनऊ से उठाए हुए हैं, मेरे साथ काम किया उन्होंने. And yeah, I think it's a learning for all of us. I'm not saying I'll be successful 100%. There will be lapses, but then the idea is to commit to presence. So I go there every month, 4 days, whatever happens. And if you're there, you're able to solve problems. So I'm sure we'll have problems, but I'm committed to solving them and ensuring optimal quality.
That's wonderful. And this Discovery Channel show, this looks very, very exciting. You guiding Shreya Saran through some very, very dangerous moves. It's called, what is it called? Survival versus food. Yeah?
It's called Star versus Food.
Star versus Food. Yeah.
This is the second season that I've done with them, and it is Shikhar Dhawan, Kartik Aaryan, Munawwar, and Shreya. So basically, it's just you just go out in the wild, spend a day. There's a objective given, walk 40 kilometers or whatever, and then you cook 2 meals along the way. Fantastic, very me sort of a space, outdoor stuff, jumping around, doing your own thing, and around.
You almost like Bear Grylls, that other guy in, the adventure guy.
Yeah, good fun.
Good fun.
It's probably the food equivalent of that show. You could say that. Good fun. I look forward to the show every year because it's very unsettling in a good way.
And where do you film? Where do you shoot? Different parts of the country?
Yeah. So last year we shot in Coorg with Baba and Anna. We shot in Spiti with Apar Shakti. This year we've shot in Himachal, 3 or 4 locations. We've shot in Meghalaya, near Cherrapunji, the wettest place. So yeah, different locations. They just sort of leave you and say, okay, you do your thing, we do ours.
And obviously somebody like Shikhar who's extremely fit will be able to go through those physical challenges. But you need a certain amount of jigra that the actresses are also showing, yeah?
Absolutely. Because, you can't really, you can fake 20% of it, but you can't really fake all of it. And it can be intensive. It is intensive.
So, I love that when you go into a place and you talk about the food history of that place. For example, there are these 2 wonderful reels of yours. One is about the butter and the ghee, how it comes and what people do Gomti Kinare, what people do in Banaras. And I remember you and our mutual friend at the time, Sumit Khanna, you've done this incredible series, which talked about the history of food, which is so you. Are these stuff that you learn from legend, from storytelling? Do you read a lot? What is your mode of research?
I think it's a mix of everything. See, eventually it's your opinion and your own logical deduction, right? Ghum fir ke to, I think it eventually boils down to that. But it's a lot of conversations that you have or have had, a lot of books that you've read, a lot of folklore that you overhear, and a lot of inquiry that you do. I think it eventually is a sum total of all that. At least for me it is. Right? So for example, we did something on Kashmiri breads. And that reel has some 5 million views and
wow,
almost that reel almost has close to 1 million shares, right? So I think people want to understand a lot of things through food. People want to use food as a lens to understand people, to understand cultures, to understand history, to understand anthropology. We are not able to give them food as a lens. All that I try and do is see, for me, food is a lens of seeing the world. Here is a little bit from my lens. ये मेरी दूरबीन है. मतलब अच्छा लगे तो देखो, नहीं तो, so I think that is what I'm trying to do. Have people give this view of the world through, they have this view of the world through food.
Oh.
है ना?
You know, the Masterchef journey has been so interesting. And of course, there's you, there's Vikas. You guys have been around. You must be so happy for Vikas and how well the New York restaurant is doing.
Absolutely.
You managed to go and eat there?
Yeah, I've cooked there.
Oh, very nice. What did you make?
So I was in New York for a Gates Foundation event. And and Vikas and I, we celebrated the 6-month anniversary of the restaurant together.
Oh, beautiful.
So I did some pan modaks for dessert. That
Him and you are like soul brothers, no? There's some connection there. You know, I remember coming onto the set and doing, some interviews with you, chats with you. You know, you're just very happy for each other's success, which is so important, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think our profession, the only role that our profession played was to bring us together.
Wow.
Beyond that, it doesn't really matter what I do, what he does. We just happen to be in the same profession.
No, and I just admire both of you because of what Harfan Maulas you are. I mean, he made such a beautiful film with Hina Gupta ji.
Yeah.
You know, so poetic, so artistic. And here you branching out into acting, writing, doing all these incredible things. But might I say, since I've recently started both left brain and right brain thinking, what I really marvel at is the business side of Ranveer Brar and the entrepreneurship. I forgot to ask you, the Discovery Show, is it with your own production house? Is that filmed by you?
The Discovery Show is filmed by Endemol.
By Endemol, okay. That's, is that still, no, Deepak Dhar has moved to Bani J. Who directed the show?
So it was directed by Gopi, handled by Trev.
By Trev, okay.
Trev Lincoln.
So tell me about your entrepreneurial pursuits. I mean, apart from the restaurant.
So you buy a lot of fingers and a lot of pies. So somebody said, Ranveer, you have to accept the fact that your brain is Avamel. It will have multiple khirkis and it will have multiple windows, and you can't deny that. So, as long as you open a window at a time, you'd be all right. And I took that advice. I embraced the fact that I can't stick to one thing. I have to do a lot of things. But at that moment, wherever I'm in, I give it full completion, close the window, open the second window. So we are into production. We have a production house called Hot Potato Productions. We are into a lot of digital consulting. We have a company called Social Stove Private Limited, which is basically content consulting on the digital and social space. We are into food and beverage consulting, which is basically consulting brands for product development, food brands for product development. The company is called Food Mantra Private Limited. Then obviously there's Ranveer Brar work, which is endorsements and this and that. There's the restaurant work, which is restaurants in Boston. We have 7 of them now. In Dubai, reached 2. We'll reach 5 before the next calendar year gets over. We have taken this Naya Panga called Inkstand Publishing. So I have committed to 2 books. So the idea is to now get to specialize in food books and not just use it for me. Just use Inkstand Publishing.
Great. So there will be other writers also.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
For everybody who wants to write food books, give them a platform to publish them.
I find that guys who works as hard as you, me, a lot of other people out there, the one thing that we're deficient of is sleep. Are you getting enough sleep or not?
In the last 4 weeks, I've gotten enough sleep. I slept for a year. I was unwell. I cracked my spine.
Oh my God! How did that happen?
In the gym. So I've slept enough.
You were lifting like heavy weights.
I had the bar on, and then I was on the blocks, and the block flipped. So the bar came here.
Oh,
it was a C6, C7 fracture. But
did you have to get it operated?
No. This was a stable fracture, so it's still on. Sorry of two. It'll heal in 6 weeks.
Are you in tape? They've taped you?
No, they have given me a collar only for traveling. Initially, it was just lying down for 2 weeks doing nothing. Then after that 1 week of semi-mobility, and then after that they said, fourth week onwards the mandate is look.
No, because your job is all about standing. It's not like us where, even I have a slip disc. But most of my job is just sitting down and being on the mic. But for you to be standing there, cooking, yeah. I think if you make it a big deal, it becomes a big deal. I love your spirit.
No, I think you have to embrace everything and go
Lovely,
on.
Yeah. Lovely.
Spending too much time on success or failure is a waste of time.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Guys, that's all we have time for today. But I promise you, Ranveer will keep coming back. Every time something special happens in his life. Go check out the restaurants if you're in Dubai or Boston. Read the book. Get it from his website. And of course, go watch the Buckingham Murders. Thank you, bhai. Thank you so much. Love you.
Always a pleasure. I love you too.
94.3 Radio 1.